Good evening, everybody. This is Casper from the Tropical Weather Threat Society bringing you a special update and special coverage of Hurricane Melissa. And as we can see here, I've got the low level water vapory image up. And what this is representative of and what meant to show is the amount of dry air that is currently being ingested into the storm. You can see it right here. So that is at least something that is kind of holding it back for a little bit, with about the center of circulation somewhere in that region, give or take a little bit. It is on the eastern side of this convective mass. And right now we are waiting on the 11 p.m. advisory. I decided to come live here because Rum Cay, San Salvador, Long Island, these folks are getting absolutely stomped. I need to see exactly what the name, Cat Island as well. With this, with what we see with the convective burst, that is ongoing. They're getting stomped. No question about it. As we can see here, just that persistent, heavy rainfall and thunderstorm activity. Speaking of thunderstorm, we can check and see if we've got any lightning near and around the center. Not a lot. Quite a bit in this rain band out here on the eastern side, but all in all, there's no doubt that these folks down here into the southeastern and southern central Bahamas are getting absolutely stomped right now, and nothing like what we have seen previously. But this storm has been quite persistent over them pretty much for quite a while. And they are definitely taking a beating. There's no doubt about it. And I figured I would come live just to make sure. We've done it for everybody else. And when I looked at the satellite, when I got back here to the house this evening, I just couldn't. I could not let this go and not at least try to come out here and help provide the information and get all of the information out with the 11 p.m. primary advisory. As we could see here, not really dropping a lot of pressure. And the reason being here, if we use the Dorvac technique, this little red dot is where satellite is pinging the center. So as you could see here, it's well displaced. We don't have the center of circulation dropping under that convective mass. It's off to the side of it. And by looking at all the different views of satellite, I do agree with that. There's no real doubt in my mind. And seeing some of this thin cirrus cloud, I personally believe that we've got some dry air entrainment that has helped to just mitigate intensification. If we can hold these pressures while this is making it through the islands, and then if it wants to deepen, please, you can do it, but stay away from folks while you're doing it, if you would, please. So we're just, like I said, we are just right now awaiting the National Hurricane Center's release of the 11 p.m. advisory, and kind of checking through things. I've been going over quite a bit of data here. I was also even researching some of the information coming out of Jamaica, as you could see here with the Jamaica Observer. It's one of the one of probably about 4 or 5 websites that I have been monitoring quite closely, just for updates and everything like that. I mean, there are some horrific videos coming out of just massive amounts of damage. Obviously, political stuff, which I have no interest in. But then, as you could see here, again, just an extraordinary amount of damage. Do not have it confirmed, but there is rumors that Josh Morganman is okay and is located in Black River. But he was seen, and I guess somebody tweeted out on X saying that they did see him earlier today. So we're fingers crossed on that. I mean, we had of course we're concerned, but when it comes to these big major events like this, it may be a couple days before you hear from him, due to the fact that you have all of the power outages, communication outages. I mean, he goes to the core, and I cannot wait to see the data that man has acquired with his Kestrel devices. Oh, I mean, that I can guarantee he's gonna, as soon as he helps the population there and helps people while trying to get, awaiting an opportunity to get back to the hurricane house and get back home. And I can almost guarantee one of the first things that man will do is compress and take a look at that data. And I know that there are a whole bunch of people that are really, really intrigued and looking forward to that data. That he's got. I know a lot of people in the United States worry about when Jim Cantori comes in. Yes, there's reason to be concerned when Jim Cantori comes in, but when Josh Morganman comes in, you need to leave, because he's chasing nothing but the core. And if you see him floating in your town, you definitely need to leave, because he's only going to come out if it's decent. If it doesn't have a lot of potential power or anything like that, he won't. And shout out to him for doing what he does. I mean, it really is amazing. The overall amount of data that he grabs. So I'm just kind of clicking through here on Sierra, taking a look at the storm synopsis. We get some areas associated with microwavable imagery, IR imagery. We've got our water vapory imagery, and as you can see, we do have some of that dry air getting entrained on this southern side. So, and this could be updated. That's kind of why we're using GOES. I've got this updates every minute. Let's go back to our lower level. And as you can see, that dry air, it continues. I'm very interested in what the 11 p.m. discussion is going to have. All right, we have the advisory. Hurricane Melissa. Yep, it's strengthening. Current location 24.3 north, 74.3 west, about 105 miles east-northeast of the central Bahamas, about 800 miles southwest of Bermuda. Maximum sustained winds have increased to 100 miles an hour. Movement is north-northeast at 21 miles an hour. Minimum central pressure down to 970 millibars. No changes with our watches and warnings, but we still have a hurricane warning in effect for southeastern and central Bahamas and also Bermuda. A tropical storm warning remains in effect for the Turks and Caicos. Our hazards affecting land. Here, hold on, let me read. No, we don't have any updates. Sometimes they'll throw in a, hey, we got this wind gust or that pressure reading. We did not get that. Hazards affecting land. Wind. Hurricane conditions are occurring within the warning area in the southeastern and central Bahamas and should continue overnight. Tropical storm conditions are ongoing in the Turks and Caicos Islands and should continue overnight. Hurricane conditions are expected on Bermuda late Thursday and Thursday night, with tropical storm conditions expected earlier on Thursday. Rainfall over the southeastern Bahamas. Storm total rainfall of 5 to 10 inches is expected through Thursday morning, which will result in areas of flash flooding. For the Turks and Caicos, rainfall totals of 1 to 2 inches are expected. Over southern Hispaniola, additional rainfall of 1 to 2 inches is expected through tonight, with storm total local maxima of 40 inches possible. Across Bermuda, outer rain bands east of Melissa's track may bring up to an inch or 25 millimeters of rain Thursday and Thursday night. 4-hour storm surge. Storm surge of 4 to 7 feet above normally dry ground is possible in the southeastern Bahamas overnight, and minor coastal flooding is possible in the Turks and Caicos Island overnight. And the surf, as always, please stay out of the water. Our forecaster's discussion. We're reading the whole thing because I haven't read it. Melissa is starting to re-intensify. A large convective burst continues near the center, albeit stretched from northeast to southwest. An Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter aircraft found that the pressure had fallen a few millibars to 970 millibars, with increased maximum 700 millibar flight level wind to 100 knots. While normally this would support closer to a 90-knot surface wind, those strong winds were over 75 nautical miles from the center, well away from the central core. This typically signifies a lower than standard wind reduction, so the initial intensity is set to 85 knots on this advisory. The hurricane is moving faster tonight, with microwave and aircraft fixes resulting in an initial motion estimate of 30 degrees at 18 knots. Melissa is forecast to greatly accelerate during the next 2 days due to steering flow between a trough moving through the southeastern United States and a mid-level ridge over the central Atlantic. Excuse me. This should cause the hurricane to move away from the central Bahamas on Thursday morning and to the northwest of Bermuda Thursday night. The fast track continues into Friday with the then post-tropical Melissa forecast to move near the Avalon Peninsula of Newfoundland as the calendar turns to November. Only a slight westward adjustment was made to the NHC forecast near the Google DeepMind and HCCA consensus models. Melissa has a short window of time to intensify during the next day or so as it remains over warm waters with moderate shear. While the shear greatly increases on Halloween along with cooling waters, the forecast speed of the cyclone also jumps up along with the upper level divergence from an approaching trough, which could lessen the weakening rate. Extratropical transition is anticipated in about 48 hours due to very strong shear and cold waters. The new NHC intensity forecast is close to the previous one, remaining on the high side of guidance, and they have it up to 105 miles an hour. Being that it's at 100 now, and maybe, it could... there are some intensity models with the Google DeepMind that may want to get this a little stronger than that. Let's see if we've got the 18Z, and we do. We'll get rid of that notification, and I want to click on this. So this way we can show the intensity distribution. We have had some of the Cat 4 intensities come down, but some of the Cat 3 intensities, we're looking at 35 of the 50 models potentially becoming Category 3 intensity, and that is, that's a 70% chance. It's not a guarantee. You're still leaving a 30% chance there that it may not achieve Category 3 status. But again, the Google DeepMind has performed the way that it has performed with this storm and consistently all year long. So it just it deserves credibility, and it's plausible. There's no doubt about it. A 70% chance. Well, and then 3 of the models would be a Category 4. So really, we are looking at 38. So that would be a 76% chance. So 3 out of 4 chance. It's not a guarantee. You have to look at this in the realm of probability. You've got 3 out of 4 times with the ensembles, we have a major hurricane. So it just re-intensifying to that. But as we can see, by the time that we get to Bermuda, a lot of that intensity really exists kind of in this region here. And then it begins its weakening process. You can see how the trends of the models begin to come down further and further. So, like looking at it here, we've got some there, but by the time that we get into these ensemble members, with the ensemble mean being a Category 2, but there are other ensemble members for the majority of it that could be a little weaker as well. So, again, it looks like the overall intensity, if it's going to do anything, is kind of in that spot right there. But it's going to be moving really, really quick. Yeah, we're going to take a look at the forecast cone and see exactly what kind of forward motion that we've got here. We like using the interactive map because it honestly, it helps show the overall wind field. And as we could see, those hurricane force winds here on San Salvador, I'm sure the center is almost right on top of them. I know Rum Cay got absolutely stomped throughout the afternoon. Long Island, Crooked Island, these folks have taken a beating today. Acklands as well. So, and getting down here to the southern side of Eczema and Cays. Little Eczema down here, and Torch Cay. And that's another reason why I like to use this interactive map. It really helps, kind of give the names of the islands. You can zoom right in and get some information. Towns even. It helped there into Jamaica during the landfall period there. Again, a little bit further away from Bermuda, but as we get up here, the Avalon Peninsula, this keeps shifting a little bit to the left. And now, I'm sure there's got to be something down here. Portugal Cove South, Kappa Hayden, these areas here obviously are going to be further to the east and therefore, or further to the south and to the east, and therefore potentially exposed a little bit more, with St. John's as well. I'm certain you're going to get a storm. It's not going to be tropical in nature, but you'll definitely feel it. Not going to lie, I am kind of surprised that the Turks and Caicos still remains under a tropical storm warning. But that should expire here shortly. Hurricane warning still for Inagua, or however you pronounce that. I'm sure I butchered it. All right, the forecast track here, pretty tightly clustered. Bermuda well offset to the east, and then potentially direct impact now possible there with the Avalon Peninsula kind of running along into the center part of that guidance with some to the left, some to the right. So let's hope on the right side because, well, we've had enough. And then if you look way up here, then a European issue. And I think that's Iceland, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, let me go look. That might not be. No, it is. Let's go back. Well, that's what it looks like. Let's see, 25 west and what, 65 north. And let's get our bearings again. And 23 west, 64.6. So yeah, it is going to Iceland. Melissa, I hope you have a wonderful time in Iceland. Don't come back. And you won't. All right, our wind speed probabilities for Bermuda, you have gone up to 80% seeing those tropical storm force winds. You are now 26% with those 50 knot winds and a 3% for those hurricane force winds. Those have gone down. You were at 7 previously. So 3, we're trending in the right direction. I believe, well, you might have gone down 1% for the tropical storm force wind. Still, at an 80%, it is quite likely. San Salvador, 99, 99, 99, with Melissa basically sitting right on top of them. So, all of they're taking a beating. They're full force of what Melissa has at this stage of its evolution. Cape Race, Newfoundland, 70% chance of tropical storm force winds, 29% chance of seeing those 50 knot winds, and a 6% chance of seeing those hurricane force winds. Isle St. Pierre with a 28% chance of seeing those tropical storm force winds, and the Hibernia oil field with a 50% chance there of tropical storm force winds and a 9% chance of those 50 knot winds. Our overall wind field, we will take a look. It is forecast to expand in size, and wow, yeah. Definitely, folks up there into the Newfoundland area, you are not going to avoid those tropical storm force winds. No, definitely not. Not when we're looking at the expansion of the wind field like this. Into the northern quadrant, 200 miles extending from the center of circulation. And then as it's making its transition, you could see upwards of 270 miles extending out there, all but that northeastern side. So I'm pretty confident that folks up there into the Avalon Peninsula in Newfoundland area are going to see at least tropical storm force winds, albeit it with a post-tropical system. All right, we still, next update, final. Look at that. We have got the final rainfall forecast from the National Hurricane Center. After seeing all the values that we've been looking at, that is excellent. I love to see it. We're done with the rainfall graphics. we'll still be able to get the information out for Bermuda, but we're not looking at tremendous amounts of rainfall due to the fact that this thing is going to be moving so fast that it's going to be, just a real quick hit for Bermuda. Something similar to what Imelda, but actually moving faster with less impact than what we saw there with Imelda. So our rainfall forecast, we're looking at a widespread 4 to 8 inches. We noted that potentially upwards of 5 to 10 is what they were calling for. So, looking at 100 to 200 millimeters, and with areas out there around that 100 millimeters or less. And for the folks down there in Haiti and the Dominican Republic, still maybe 1 to 2 inches. Same calling for there into parts of Bermuda. All right, our key messages. We need to hit the refresh on that, and we will go through these. Key message number 1 for the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos. Hurricane conditions, life-threatening storm surge, and heavy rainfall are expected across portions of the southeastern and central Bahamas through overnight. Remain sheltered until local officials deem it safe to venture out. Tropical storm conditions, heavy rains, and significant storm surge are expected in the Turks and Caicos Island through tonight. For Bermuda, hurricane conditions are expected in Bermuda beginning late Thursday and continuing through Thursday night. And key message number 3 for the recovery process. Post-storm safety. Follow advice of local officials as you may need to remain sheltered after the storm due to downed power lines and flooded areas. Ensure generators are properly ventilated and placed outside at least 20 feet away from dwellings and garages to avoid carbon monoxide poisoning. During cleanup, be careful when using chainsaws and power tools. I'm going to add ladders as well. Drink plenty of water to avoid heat exhaustion. Now, I do want to pull up our arrival time of winds to give the folks there in Bermuda the most likely arrival time, Thursday, 8 p.m. for the tropical storm force winds. That'd be tomorrow night. And earliest reasonable arrival time would be maybe an hour before. Wow. There's not much difference between the earliest and most likely arrival time. Maybe by an hour. So, get your preparations completed, folks. Y'all know the drill. You've been doing it all season long. The 2025 hurricane season has been brought to you by the Watch Out Cuba. Or not Cuba, but Bermuda. I looked down. I looked at Cuba. Lord have mercy. And then just read it. But watch out Bermuda. That's been the theme of all year long. So real quick, again, we're going to take a look. We did not get much change there. Shear, 23 knots, a little bit old. Our reconnaissance, we'll give it refresh one last time. We don't see anything there. Thanks to Cyclonic WX for providing a comprehensive site that I've become very accustomed to now. And I do appreciate the information that they put out here, especially on the top, and the color-coded graphics that we see. And then this with the pressure and how the life of Melissa in its pressures. And you could see 891.7. Absolute insanity. And again, folks, before I sign off, please follow your official sources. You guys can find that at the database link tied to the page. And please, that's all I ask is follow your official sources. They're going to have information for you and your local region. So please, folks, I please follow your official sources. And if we come down here and then viewing the islands, this was the forecast for the islands, and you're talking about hurricane force winds, hurricane force, all the way through these 5 islands. You got 2 here on the bottom left, 1 on the bottom right, and then the Grand says Grand Turks and Caicos with the winds hurricane force. That's not true, but again, just please follow your official sources. They are the ones that are going to have, like I said, the localized information available for your area. And again, Bermuda, I'm certain there it is. We get there, they'll update every single time. There's no question about it. As you could see with the tropics, and then their hurricane warning right here. So please, folks, again, follow your official sources. All right, everybody, I am going to go ahead and cut it down here tonight. I will be back live again tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. We're going to run tomorrow. Here's our schedule. We are going to run a 9 a.m. I cannot do the 1. I've got previous obligations. I cannot do a 1 p.m. tomorrow. So we're going to run a 9 a.m. and then a 6 p.m. I do apologize. It's going to be kind of out there into the open waters. It's not really going to be impacting anything or anybody. Like I said, I've got prior obligations that I have to fulfill. There's no way of getting around it. So while it's not sitting on top of anybody and, it'll be out there into the open waters, I am going to go ahead and do the morning update to give the information out, and then we'll come back live tomorrow night at 6 p.m. And then I'm probably not going to do an 11 tomorrow night. So it looks like 2 lives tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central, and then again at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. So with that, everybody, I thank you very much for your attendance and participation, and we'll talk to you guys again tomorrow morning. Have a great night.